put it in the record that I have not read the minutes, so I neither oppose or or go against. I haven't seen the minutes. I'm sorry. I haven't been able to find them.
Okay. Did you want Joanne to just send you a copy maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, Terry. I just didn't see the minutes, so I
Okay.
don't know if we're
That's
gonna get
fine.
that part yet or not. I'm
Okay.
confused on this a little bit, so okay.
All right. So I do want to give Ben time to talk about the many things that have been going on. And I do want to say thank you to the administrators, the teachers, all of the staff for doing such a great job of rallying behind our students, our families, and for all the things that Ben's going to tell us now. So I'm going to turn it over to Ben.
Thank you. I'm going to just go ahead and ask Travis to go ahead and turn that hosting over so I can share on mine. So I guess before I get into that, I would say that we are really in unprecedented and uncharted territory. We have a lot of things that are happening and that have happened that are you've got a lot of people on very different sides of this. I think everyone wants to keep people safe. And you've got opinions that span quite a gamut in terms of the response to this as well as the virus itself. But regardless of all of those opinions, we are in this now, and we need to do our best job to provide a quality education to our children in Swartz Creek, and that's what we're called to do. And I have to say, I've been exceedingly proud and excited about the work that I'm seeing from our staff. So prior to this most recent executive order 2020-35, the state was in, we had suspended our face-to-face instruction through April 13th. And at that time, our teachers pulled together. They started to create things for our kids so that they could be working on some things at home. But we had not had a concerted, platform that we were going to use. When the governor made her announcement that face-to-face instruction was going to be suspended for the remainder of the school year, we did a lot of scrambling, and we thankfully had been a little bit of ahead of the game, and we had done some pre-planning. And I'm pleased to say that we have submitted and had our plan approved by the state, the Michigan Department of Education, and the ISD. We're one of the first districts in Genesee County to get our plans out there and approved, which is great. The ISD has been very supportive and very helpful in navigating this very difficult time. So I don't think that there's anything that that I would say that's going to make people feel better about the environment. But I would say this, and that is that to our families and our kids, we're going to provide the best education we can, whether it's remotely or hybrid or face to face. And this is no different. So we're excited, and I want to go through the plan that's been approved. I did have a meeting today with all of our teachers on our staff. We had around 200 people on our call, very similar to this. And we just were reiterating things, answering questions, and being prepared to start our instruction. So I'm going to show you what you should see on your screen very shortly is you should be able to see my computer here pretty shortly. And let's see, move this over. Are you able to see the introductory letter on your screen right there? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is our what's called our continuity of learning plan, and this is a plan that I know that I've sent to all of you. This plan went out to all of our families. The Executive Order 2020-35, which suspends face-to-face instruction, is linked there. And in this guide, it really talks about the statutory requirements that all school districts that are public in the state have to comply with. The executive order is detailed. People can reference it there. But what I'll say is that this plan outlines a very large array of what we're doing. There's a lot more detail to each of these areas that obviously I've gone over with the teachers today. Our team has been working on them, and we've had some different conversations. So I'm going to take this one step at a time. Each of these items are listed on our plan. We have a web page established on our website that has all of this information on it. And so the first thing is, districts were asked, how are you going to provide instruction when it's not face-to-face? And obviously the challenge we have for that is not every single person in our community has the assets and the resources to be able to do instruction virtually. So we've been working very diligently the last few weeks to be able to arrange and organize that. Pleased to say that we've distributed over just the course of the last, on Tuesday, actually yesterday, we've got another one planned tomorrow. This week, we will have individually distributed nearly 800 Chromebooks to our families that have needed those access and those resources. We've done so through social distancing. We've put protocols in place to make sure that we're distributing those in a safe manner and compliance with all of the rules and regulations. But what I would say is that our delivery model is primarily going to be through Google Classroom, which is an online learning platform. Our teachers have been trained in Google Classroom. They understand how to utilize that space, and they'll be supplementing with a variety of other tools. But their primary focus will be through Google Classroom. One of the things that's really critical in number 2 is that the state wants to know, how will the district keep kids at the center of the activities? How will they continue to build relationships and maintain connections? I told the teachers today that this is probably the most important part, because math and reading and those things are critically important right now, as kids are disconnected and they're not necessarily able to interact with other children. It's going to be very important that our teachers provide an opportunity to have those interactive contact times. So what you're seeing here essentially is a schedule. It's a structure. Monday through Wednesday, our elementary teachers are going to be meeting with their students in these time blocks. The rationale for having the times different is because we have a lot of families that have multiple children. So you might have a first grader, a third grader, and a seventh grader. You're going to want to make sure that those times aren't all at the same time, especially if you have limited devices in your house. The elementary teachers are going to be making contact with every single child throughout the week. So the teachers are going to be delivering weekly lessons through Google Classroom, but they're also going to have these interactive contact times. It might be a Zoom meeting like we're on right now. It could be a Google Meets or a Hangout. It could also be some interactive chat sessions that occur. And so our teachers are arranging and organizing that right now. But our elementary teachers in particular, because our young students don't have as much ability to independently navigate this environment, they're actually going to be reaching out to every one of their students each week and giving each child the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with their teacher to clarify things and be able to ask questions. Our middle school and high school teachers, theirs is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, they have many more students. Their contact times are going to be a little bit longer, and you'll notice on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we're running that almost like a regular student schedule. So on Monday you'll have first and second hour, Tuesday you'll have third and fourth hour, and Wednesday you'll have fifth and sixth hour. So those things are all slated out there in that schedule. And our middle school and high school teachers are going to be reaching out to students as needed. They will be what we call differentiation, which is where we know there's a student that needs a little bit more support, or we know that there's a student that needs a little bit more additional work to be done, and they will be using that time for that. When we get into teacher-student contact, it's really important to remind everybody that we still have a number of students that have IEPs, individualized education plans, 504 plans, students with disabilities. We've been working very closely with our speech pathologist, our language consultants, and they're going to be reaching out to all of the children on their caseload as well. So lots of contacts, both as a group where the kids can ask questions as a class and have some collaborative times with other children, but also opportunities for individual contact with their teachers. The other piece to this, and number three, we're talking about the fact that we have also been creating hard copy packets. And we're distributing those packets at our food distributions, which I'm going to get to in a second. And those packets are for people that do not have internet assets. They don't have the ability to get online, or they do not have the ability to have a device that would enable them to do so. So we're correcting that problem by making sure that we're providing that access. But until that occurs in the stopgap, we're also providing the packets that are being created, and our ISD has been very helpful with that. As it pertains to monitoring learning, teachers are going to be keeping call logs and contact logs. So as teachers make contact with families, we're going to keep record of that. And as students also continue to progress in their learning, we're going to be keeping track of that as well. And so we have all of those pieces in place, and our teachers are excited to begin there. The state is also asking for a budget in terms of expenditures for any additional expenditures. Chris and I did a lot of work thinking through what was going to be the real cost of this, and what we've determined is it's not going to cost us any more than what our normal board-approved, board-adopted budget would cost. We're obviously saving on a number of things like fuel, energy, some of our bus maintenance and repair. We're also saving quite a bit on supplies. And so if anything, we're going to be shifting some money within the board-adopted budget to be able to provide some of the supplies that somebody might need to be able to interact in that learning space. But our budget is adequate to be able to do what we're doing. That is largely in part thanks to our community who has supported the technology in this district, and the board that supported the technology in this district, to allow us the opportunity to have some assets to be able to perform this remote learning. Some of the other assurances in the plan is just basically wanting to make sure that there were a number of people consulted. The number 8 is somewhat important in terms of when we're starting this plan. A lot of our teachers have already been working through this, but the official plan for everybody will start next week on Monday, so April 20th. The next section, some information there on our students that are doing dual enrollment and CTE courses. Essentially, they're going to continue to be able to progress in their learning. But the food service is something that we spent a lot of time on. Obviously, a number of our children and their families, they're relying on the school districts. So Governor Whitmer, when she had the first shutdown as well as in the latest shutdown, she has deemed food service as an essential function. Very, very proud of our cooks and our food service department, who have been working very tirelessly to make sure that we're getting this food to our kids. We've had a number of people who have volunteered to help, and we just can't thank people enough. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to take everybody up on their offers to help because we can only have so many people working in a particular area at one time in order to maintain all of the requirements that we have. So the gist of food service is that we are preparing 7-day food packages for each child. And those food packages are being distributed on Wednesdays. We did that this morning from 11:30 to 12:30 at the high school and middle school. And also every elementary school has a site, has a food distribution site as well. Each week we make some adjustments and modifications as we start to learn the demand for each site and who's going to be going to each area. It's handled very, very professionally. They come up, they let us know their student, and we set the food essentially in the trunk of their car. Everybody's wearing gloves and masks, and it's all handled very, very appropriately. But very, very impressed with our crew and Michael's team for being able to pull together and make sure that everybody is still eating, even in the midst of school not being in session. And I know that for many of you on the board, that's something that's very, very important to and near and dear to you. So being able to say that we have been doing that ever since day one of the shutdown has been great. And of course, we continue to do that in this new plan. One of the requirements of the executive order was that districts would be required to maintain compensation for employees. We obviously are continuing to do that. What I would say is that we are using people differently, and everybody, I think, understands that. So, you might be an educational aide, but you're going to help make educational packets and make copies that can get out to kids for those packets. You might be helping with food distribution. So everybody's got a part to play. It might be a little bit different than their normal role, but we're utilizing everybody to the fullest capacity that we're able to. One of the other things that in the executive order, as it relates to grading, is that students will receive no harm academically as a result of COVID-19. So what that essentially means is that we need to be providing feedback to our students. Grades that would be detrimental beyond what they had received prior to the shutdown is not allowable under Executive Order 2020-35. So our teachers continue to provide feedback. They're going to continue to monitor students. They're going to continue to offer these experiences. There is an opportunity for children at the high school level to choose whether they would like to do the grades that they had prior to the shutdown and have that help their GPA. So I think of a student that's got mostly A's. Those grades are going to help their GPA, and they've worked hard for those grades. That student, as long as they participate fully on each week of this learning plan, they will be able to utilize those grades to help improve their GPA marks. Obviously, students that are also have the ability, if they had a passing mark at the time of the shutdown, to choose the pass option, in which case they would be promoted and obtain credit for the course. And the executive order and the guidance documents are pretty clear on that. So we have made that opportunity available for our children who are, achieving at high levels, and so that they have the opportunity to have their GPA helped. But certainly, a pass does not impact your GPA. It is simply to obtain credit so that the student doesn't have to retake the course. One of the things that we also are going to be working on through this plan is the social emotional support. We have social workers, counselors, teacher consultants. These people are going to be deployed once the shutdown is lifted, at that time, to be able to offer reasonable supports to our families and our children. The other piece, of course, is the contacts that I already spoke about, making those contacts regular each week with the children that are on their caseload. Number 14 deals with disaster relief childcare. We are fully participating and compliant with the ISD. Our Little Dragons Learning Center is licensed, and we can utilize that space for disaster relief childcare. I will tell you, we have not been needed at this time. In Genesee County, the GISD has not asked us for that support, but we certainly are fully compliant should we need to open up the Little Dragons Learning Center and allow the ISD to be able to use that space for that. Disaster relief childcare in the executive order essentially provides childcare free of charge to first responder medical workers who are out there obviously fighting the virus. So that's something that we are open to providing. We do not currently do it and are not needed at this time, but GISD will let us know should they need to access and mobilize our site. The last piece there is talking about balanced calendar. We have not had any specifics plans. We obviously have an approved calendar with our collective bargaining unit with our teachers. So we don't have any plans to implement a balanced calendar for this year. However, There is a discussion that needs to occur between the teachers, I think, at the board level, about what does this look like for next year? Should we be talking about starting school early? Should we be talking about some of these things? And of course, we're having those conversations internally, talking about expanding our summer school offerings and identifying some of the kids that are significantly having some significant gaps as a result of this. Providing some enhancement to our summer school programs, and then talking through what does it look like in the fall, and the potential is there to actually have some conversations about, do we need to have the conversations about starting early and all of those things. Obviously, nothing is been decided. That would have to be a discussion from the board, and also our teachers would have to have some would be the other party to weigh in on that. So those conversations are starting, and I think that they need to continue over the next couple months as we think about how we're going to respond through all of this. So I know I went through a lot. That is our continuity of learning plan. Our teachers are going to be very active, and so I think that this plan, I believe that it strikes a strong balance between having too much, maybe too much work to do, but also not enough work to do. So it's kind of a good balance of the both. It keeps kids engaged in learning. It keeps them connected to their peers and classmates and their teachers, and allows us to continue to support them. So I have to say, I'm very impressed with the state and the teachers in this state, and certainly our school district, for finding a way to completely change their entire paradigm of education at the drop of a hat, and we've done that. So we're excited to get started. The teachers were very positive today, and they're kind of chomping at the bit to get going next week. Couple other little minor things that I would just touch on. We have not lost sight of the fact that having this particular situation occur was not in any way, shape, or form the way that our seniors had hoped to end their high school careers. We know that there are some significant rites of passage like prom and graduation, and college signing day, and all of the things that come along with being a 12th grade student for that last time. And so we are looking right now currently at some dates in July to see if we can't still hold a celebration for graduation, for some of these other honors ceremonies, and trying to recognize our children who so deeply deserve it. And so we're just kind of waiting on that, because we need to see what type of guidance and requirements we're going to have coming down from the state. But here locally, we are more than committed and hopeful to make those things happen. So stay tuned for more information on that.
Thank you, Ben. Does anybody have any questions for Ben?
I do.
Go ahead, Mike.
Ben, are you going to speak, or can you just briefly speak about the bond construction status? I know we're not working, but are there any plans at this point?
Yeah, so we have reached out to our bond legal counsel. We've also reached out to a variety of our contacts at the state. What we have been told emphatically is that unless the project is necessary for sustaining life, we are not allowed to work on those projects. Prior to the school closure to the end of the year, we had prepared some guidance that said that because there's a potential of us coming back this year prior to the shutdown, that we might be able to complete some of the work at our elementary schools, because our kids wouldn't be able to come back if they were in the state that they were in. With the shutdown being where it is, we got guidance from the governor's office that will not be allowable. So at this point, we are in the same boat with a lot of school districts where the contractors want to work, but they're being told that they cannot work on those projects. And obviously the philosophy there is to try and protect workers and trying to minimize the amount of people that are in contact with each other. There are a variety of ramifications, though, of not continuing construction. And so some of those deal with the Department of Treasury, our funds needing to be spent within the first 3 years of bond issuance. And we've heard from Treasury. They have not sent out an official bulletin yet, but we believe that they've at least verbally stated that they are going to consider extending those as a result of this crisis. So I'm feeling better about that. Thankful for obviously the fact that we have workers that want to work, but unfortunately that can't commence just yet. So we'll see what the governor decides to do at this next, at the end of this month. Her latest executive shutdown goes to April 30th. And so it's possible that she will begin to start to allow some of those things to occur. I had a conference call with Senator Shirkey, who's the Senate Majority Leader, and they're going to be making recommendations about how to start the economy in a smart way. And so some of that, of course, includes construction, and we're hopeful and hoping that we'll be able to get that done safely and soon.
Thank you.
I had a question, Terry.
Sure, go ahead, Brian.
Ben, I just want to confirm, so we're sticking with the calendar established by the board for the rest of this year?
We're sticking with the board-approved calendar at this point for the remainder of this school year because that's been established. However, I think that in May, particularly once we've got this learning program off the ground, we need to be talking about what's the right thing to do for our kids and what do we need to do in terms of summer and also the fall. And the teachers are going to have to be a big part of that conversation as well, because we do have an agreed upon calendar. And they've been very supportive of everything we've done. I have no doubt that they want to do what's best for the kids in the community. So I'm very hopeful that if the decision is we need to do something different than what's currently there, we'll be able to work through that together in a collaborative way. But at this point, our plan is to continue with our calendar as it exists. But I do believe there's going to need to be some further discussion about what the summer and fall looks like.
All right, thank you, Ben.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Ben. Great information as always, and I appreciate the communication with the community. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a student report from Jacob.
Thank you very much. Let me just be the first to say that I miss you all. I mean, just incredibly. And I miss you in a way that I never thought that I could miss people. I never thought that, you couldn't see somebody. But here we are. And I've been thinking education is widely criticized for many reasons all the time. But now we have tenable, rock solid evidence that when we go to school every day, we are doing the single greatest thing that we can do, because the alternative, where we're at right now, is pretty dreadful. I'm not gonna lie. So as you know, a large part of my job is reporting the events of the high school and the district. Well, that's a little funny right now. And you might think that I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with that. But the truth is, there is a lot of very amazing things that are happening. And I've been watching that play out online. And I just wanted to share and highlight some of those for you. Into the Creek, that's our high school newscast. They've been producing a program, their regular news updates, twice a week on their social media. And they have events or updates about different things that are happening, announcements, and this is really particularly special. They get students to send in responses to questions. They get teachers to talk directly to the students through that platform. And that's exactly what we need right now. And it's just such an amazing thing to actually hear voices and see faces. It's a blessing. Also, that same program just started posting senior shout outs every day. So every day they will take their submissions and they'll post a senior photo as well as the college that that senior plans to attend and their educational plans. And it's really beautiful to see that. Also, our yearbook is in full swing. Interestingly, they adopted a different model this year. Normally, they'll complete an entire book fall through the end of the year, and they'll give it to you the following school year. Well, at the beginning of this school year, they decided we're going to just take the yearbook through, through winter sports. So, it would stop about February, March-ish. And then they could get that book to us before the end of the school year. And then they were going to make a spring supplement that would include spring sports and all those things. Well, that looks a little different now, as you can imagine, but it didn't even throw them for a loop. Now they're collecting photos of students, what they're doing right now, what they're participating in. Actually, as we speak, seniors are in a spirit week. So each day they wear something different. Yesterday was your college day. The day before was Swartz Creek Spirit Day. And they've been sending in pictures for that. They're reaching out to students across the school to get a feel and a capture for what they're doing with their time right now. And so this spring supplement is really going to turn into a COVID-19 supplement. But it'll be very interesting to look back on that in a few years. And then the most extraordinary thing, and you may have heard about this, is the decorating of front doors and porches for seniors. And parents are putting out signs and jerseys and flowers, everything you can imagine to celebrate their student during this time. And ABC 12 has picked up on this with their hashtag ABC12 Senior Shoutout. And I'd recommend checking it out online. It's just incredible, and it's a beautiful, great way to lift the spirits of a lot of our seniors who are struggling. But I do want us to stay grounded in reality. Among many of our students, again, particularly our seniors, spirits are pretty low. It began with not seeing friends for a few weeks, and now it's a couple months. Their athletics, their theater productions, all their clubs are gone. I just found out today that Hometown Days is canceled. And it's hard to square that with people who consider that to be the start of a great summer. Also, as Mr. Meinke mentioned, most importantly, seniors are dismayed over the uncertainty with their senior events. We've got prom, baccalaureate, senior banquet, elementary marches, commencement, project graduation. My peers and I, we have been delighted, though, to see the commitment from our administration to monitor the circumstances and to hold these events to the greatest extent possible. And I do want to extend a sincere thank you to Mr. Meinke and the entire administration for making that commitment. We all know that our students' worlds have been turned upside down. I did tell Mr. Meinke earlier, I talked to him, that I have said from the very beginning, and I've known this since I was in elementary school, that my class, the class of 2020, is very special. We have unique traits, we have unique abilities, we can get through absolutely anything, and we will get through this. And I know that we all recognize that. So I just want to thank the administration for their outstanding work, and I just want to put out there that I'm very optimistic for the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. Thank you very much. Any questions for Jacob? Okay. All right. Thank you again. Now we have our board action items. We have one item, asbestos abatement. Ben, did you want to talk about that a little bit before we move on?
Sure, yes. The performance matters came through. They helped us identify the areas in our district. Of course, this was prior to the shutdown, but we need to approve or make a decision one way or another, I should say, the asbestos abatement bids. When construction is allowed to commence, this will be the very first thing that has to happen in our buildings to be able to allow construction to continue. So there's a lot of asbestos in our elementary schools and some of the ceiling tiles and some of the floor tiles, and those have to be abated in order to meet the requirements of the state. I'm happy to see that the bids came in lower than what we had anticipated. So our recommendation tonight is that we could approve those. We will be able to get those started as soon as construction is allowed to begin again, which will prevent us from having any delays or lags.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Ben before we?
Yes, just a quick one.
Sure, go ahead.
How long would it take for them to do the abatement as planned, as proposed?
It's going to be different at every building. The high school has quite a bit, and so does the middle school. But in terms of the timeline that we're looking at, we're being told it's probably a 2-week timeline for them to get that done. So we want to try and hit that time clock right away. As soon as if we were allowed to start doing that on May 1st, we want to get them on site May 1. That way our contractors that are actually doing the construction can start, immediately following that.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Brian?
I think Chuck had something he was saying there.
Was that a motion, Chuck?
No, I was just going to ask a question. I didn't know if you guys could hear me or not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I might have had it on. I could hear you guys, but I wondered about my speaker. On the contracts that we are signing, Ben, and the contracts that we have signed prior to this mess, is there a stop date or a kill date on these? Are we going to have to worry about that, where if this is extended or something happens, what are we going to do? Because a lot of these contracts say they'll be done 90 days, 120 days. Where are we at on this? I know that the Treasury's office wants to eliminate the 3-year plan, but what about the individual contracts we signed?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So the basis of all of that in our conversation with our construction managers is, nobody in our state is able to work right now. So it's not through our own volition that we're stopping them from working. So we believe that they are going to be able to have some latitude with that, because it's not like we're saying we're going to hold you up and not let you work. Nobody is able to work in Michigan, so it's not through our own choice. But it's a very good point that you make, and it's something that we are talking about. We are trying to, again, have these virtual meetings with our construction managers, with our design teams. To the fullest extent possible. We've had some meetings with them virtually, but they're also under orders. The construction managers were sent a memo that if they're seen caught, believed to be working on non-essential projects that are listed under the executive order, it's a misdemeanor and a significant hefty fine for them. So they've been very, very cautious. Probably rightfully so, and so they are not really even reporting to their office at all. So that's something that we're trying to work around, but we have had some talks about that, and I think it's a concern. Their initial response is they don't feel like it's going to be enforceable in terms of a contractor saying, well, this is my deadline because of this crisis and the complete shutdown from the government. But it's something that's going to be unfolding as soon as we can get back. And I think it's a very good question and something we need to keep on the forefront of our minds.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure if we signed a contract and it had a kill date on it, and I know the state's extended it, if they're not going to say we're going to enforce our kill date.
Right. No, it's a great point.
Okay. All right. I'm good then. If the estimates came in lower, I mean, that's good. How much lower did they come in? Do you know? 10%, 15%? I haven't had a chance to look at.
The budgeted amount that we had, I should pull that up so that I can
Right.
give you an
Yeah, can we look
accurate.
at it on the screen?
Yeah, let me take a look here. Yeah, so it looks like the abatement bid total price from HBC is coming in at $278,000. Now I'm gonna flip over because I need to be able to tell you what the actual budgeted amount was. So hang on just 1 second, and I'll get you that. Sorry, my computer's moving a little bit slow. It's pulling up.
Well, if one of the other members have it in front of them, they can spout it off if they got it. Does anybody else on the board have it in front of them?
You're asking for the difference between what we originally thought in the bond app versus the current, and I know it's lower, but I'm trying to pull up. I'm getting.
That's okay.
No, I want to make sure you guys have it. I just okay, because I don't want to say something that is completely outlandish, but I believe we had 450,000 set aside for abatement, and the bid tab came in at 278,000, I believe. Let me make sure on that. Yes, 278,000. So that was the low bid. The high bid was 319. Now, the 450,000 is still encompassing of the high school and the middle school. And we were told that we should be able to, by the construction managers, that we certainly should be able to meet budget through that. So, you know, we're a couple $100,000 under budget roughly, and that's what they're estimating it's going to take at the high school and middle school to get those buildings done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So I had a motion from Brian. I need a second.
I second it.
Okay, Chuck, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Joanne, could you do a roll call, please?
Sure. Mike,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Alicia,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Carrie.
Yes, and I apologize. I did not read the I did not read the resolutions. I know it has to go into the record, so let me do that. Be it resolved that the Swartz Creek Community Schools Board of Education approve the bid to HBC Specialized Contracting with a total base bid of $278,600 and an alternate number one of $21,108 for a total cost of $299,708 as presented.
Does anybody want me to call their name again?
I'm okay with it. I guess it'd be up to the person that made the motion or Carrie as president.
I'm fine with it. I've got the agenda right here. Got it on.
Okay, so everybody's okay. If you
Okay.
want to revote,
Yes.
I apologize. I was
That would be
listening to
7 yes.
everybody's comments. Okay, thank you, Joanne. Appreciate it. All right, with that, we have an opportunity for public comments, and I am going to rely heavily on Travis to assist us here. If anybody has public comment, please, I think they may have submitted information already to Travis. Yes?
We have just one person on the line.
Okay, can I just mention, please make sure that we know their name and keep their comments to 3 minutes or less. Thank you, Travis.
So I believe that the person on the call is Linnea Rocha. Linnea, are you on?
I am. I have
Okay.
no comment.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, Linnea. I hope you're well. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other public comment? None, Travis? We're good?
That's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Thanks for setting that up for us. All right. Now, any comments or questions from the board?
I have 2 comments, and that is one, and I had said this previously to Ben, I really think that we've done a fabulous job with our communication to the community, and the plan that as it's laid out, the work that Kevin Claren did and how it looks, I just want to give a great big shout out to him, and also to everybody in our food distribution. You guys are such a blessing, and I just want it publicly known to say thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think Chuck had a comment. I think he was speaking, but I'm thinking his microphone was muted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
My little yellow screen's up. I can see that.
Oh, come
I
on.
was just asking. Go ahead. Mike can go. I'm okay.
Oh, I was unmuted. You can go, Chuck. Go ahead.
I just had a question through Carrie to Travis. How are these people? Are they calling a phone line, or are they getting on the chat on the screen here that we can see them when they make public comment if we have to do it in the future?
We put a Google form right by the agenda on the website, and then they fill out the Google form, and then we send them a teleconference invite with the password, so that way they can phone in. They don't get the password for the video meet, but they do get a chance to call in and then participate when the public comment comes up.
Okay, that sounds good. And how are we going to do this again next month, or are we hopefully going to be able to meet in person?
I think we're operating under the current executive order, which gives us more latitude with the Open Meetings Act to meet like this. It's, I don't think, optimal. I think all of us would agree we would much prefer to, as long as it's safe, meet in a way that we can interact with each other a little bit more dynamically. So we're going to have to kind of wait and see what the governor does. I think it's certainly possible that next month, depending on the guidance, maybe we could meet, even if there's 3 people at the board office and the rest of us are meeting this way, that way we can kind of ease into it. I think that we should definitely wait and see what the guidance is. We weren't sure how this was going to go. I appreciate all of you being willing to meet this way, and so that the community can at least see that we are still conducting business even though it's definitely pared down. I would like to see us try to meet in person again as soon as it's safe and as soon as we're allowed to do it. So, that's just something that we'll have to wait and get some guidance on. So I don't know that we need to make a decision to operate this way for sure next month, but we'll maybe take our P's and Q's. And then I would just encourage any board member that has a particular strong opinion on that to reach out to Carrie, because she'll be the one to make the ultimate decision on that.
Thanks for that, Ben. And I'm glad that we were given the opportunity for the OMA guidance to actually do this, so that we're not holding anything up for you, and critical right now that we're able to make some of these decisions and the community can hear the updates directly from you. So I appreciate that it's an option.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
I just, yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Oh, I'm just very, very impressed with this virtual technology. And Travis, I thank you for everything you've done to put this together. And also everything, Ben, you've done, and all the administrators, teachers, everybody at the school that has worked so hard to, in this time of crisis, the way things have unfolded. And it's really worked out in a very positive situation. Great people here in Swartz Creek, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you again, Travis.
We are lucky.
Chuck,
Go ahead,
you had
Chuck.
something?
Yeah, I wanted to echo, can you hear me? I just wanted to echo what Brian's gonna say. I wanted to tell everybody, thank you. I just hope that next month, I don't know if we're precluded from meetings, so maybe we can conduct more business. I know we have so much going on with the building, and I know we're at a standstill right now for the benefit of our children and community. I don't know if we could meet maybe in a larger forum and then maybe get spread out or something, Carrie, where maybe we could be 5 or, 6, 7 feet away like they want us, and maybe use the PAC center or something. And I don't even know if that's feasible or not, but I'm more for that. I can go along with this, but I think we conduct more business the other way. And I know we're underneath tough times, and I'm glad that we got to meet anyways, and not just put it off, so we can show the community, which has shown us how much we care and how we can keep working. Because I'm really worried about getting all the school projects done in time for next year, and try to get everything buttoned down. It's really putting a crimp in our master plan, I think. That's all I have. Well, thank you guys. Hope everybody stays well.
Thank you. All right. I just want to echo everything everybody said. Thank all of our teams at the school, the families who have learned how difficult it is to be teachers, and also to our food service folks. They're just incredible.
Absolutely. And I think Mike has a public comment.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm sorry. It said that the true test of leadership is how well you function in a crisis. And with the coronavirus crisis, I have to rate the district highly effective. My thanks to all who have helped with the food preparation and distribution, and to the teachers and administrators who prepared our continuity of learning plan, which we all now know has been approved. Thanks to Ben for his leadership in our time of need. Thanks to all of you, and be safe.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Well
Mike.
said. Thanks.
I also want to thank Travis again. I know, Travis, you have or will be distributing nearly 700 computers to our families. Is that correct?
Yep. We started on Tuesday. We have another day of scheduled pickups tomorrow, and then again on Friday. And then we're just going to keep offering opportunities until we meet the complete demand of our community.
Great job. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mr.
All right.
If I could.
Oh,
just
go ahead, Jacob.
Mr. Meinke, I just wanted to ask you, being a senior, a lot of my friends and other people in my class are just wondering how this new plan might affect the rest of the seniors' academic year, given that we get out on May 15th. Could you just speak to that for a moment and how that will play out?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Kitchen's going to be communicating some further guidance this week. Essentially, your senior exit presentations, your senior projects that you perform, your 12th grade teachers are going to be working through how to allow you to provide those still remotely and virtually. You too will have the same opportunities afforded to you guys in terms of being able to allow the option to continue with your GPA that you had earned at the time of the shutdown. And also to continue with your learning through May 13th. I believe it's May 13th, right? You would know that date better than I would, probably.
May 15th.
May 15th. Okay. So that's that's still going to continue in that same fashion. Our seniors that have earned their credits are going to graduate. They're going to move on to bright futures. But I will say that if there's a student who's been behind, They have already been contacted by the administration at the high school and been offered credit recovery opportunities so that they can obtain the necessary credits if they work at it enough to be able to still graduate on time with their class. So we're doing everything to make sure that you guys are a priority to get things squared away so that when you hit that May 15th date, you guys know exactly where you stand.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jacob. All right. With that, I don't hear any other comments or questions. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Support.
Chuck and Alicia. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. For the community, this is available on YouTube. Thank you for your patience and for engaging and supporting our teams at the school. I appreciate it very much. And it's so good to see all of you. Stay safe and stay well.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
Yep.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.